when you're in the field and you're pen and paper, writing it down, not only is it hard, if I'm handing that paperwork off to Rachel for her to type up in a better format, so to speak, sometimes when we write things down, we don't understand our own writing or what we mean by that. Mm-hmm. So in having a pre-designed template basically is what we're able to do, is create our own template that we understand every day. And not only that we understand, but when we complete that report and we handed it to the other managers that are in other departments, they understand it also.
Probably the best way that it's helped us is cutting down on time, making it easier for us to track our slings and fall protection and other safety equipment. We've cut our inspection time down on slings from 3 days to less than a day at one of our plants.
They're out in the field and they're having to handwrite, or they were having to handwrite everything. Again, field audits, it would take them a whole day to write it up, and they would come back and it would take us a whole day to get it entered. And then, 3 or 4 days later, we can get it out to the managers. It's in a pretty little format, whereas now we can do that in a day.
But we can come up on a switching station or substation where the crews are working and be sure that proper procedures, PPE, are being utilized, and using Field ID gives us a checklist or a check-off list in that inspection or audit at that time and point. So even if I have to travel away from the office an hour or two to do this audit with a crew, we can come in and do the audit, and before I even get back to the office, Buddy's able to access that report even before I get back. So if there's any major issues that need to be dealt with, he can deal with many of those before I get back, or if everything's okay, he can spread the good word that everything went fine.
When we go out in the field, and we do that audit, we have to come back and build a report. Before, you would spend a half of a morning or a morning typing up your report that you spent all day yesterday doing in the field. Yeah. And then having to convey that information to everyone else in ways that they understand. Now, we got the form on Field ID where we can go through our checklist on our report. We can attach photos. We can give recommendations. We can describe deficiencies, all right there in the field. So before I even get back to the office, there's a report that can be generated. Initially, the idea was, of course, for our sling inspections, our fall protection, our harness inspections, for those annual inspections that we do need record-keeping capability of, and something that would free us up from having to go back and type things up or input them, or handed them to Rachel and say, here, decipher my chicken scratch that I scribbled in the darkness of of the power plant. But also for our field audits, whether it be a plant audit or a field audit with one of our line crews, substation crews, or construction crews. We're seeing more and more areas where we can utilize not only tags, but the reporting aspect of Field ID. And as y'all continue to update and integrate and make tweaks to it every time I speak to you, basically something is improved and it's better. So we're looking forward to moving forward with Field ID and the new opportunities that y'all give us to be able to utilize the program and our safety.
We're expanding it now out into our environmental group. They're going to be using it to do inspections on tanks at each one of our plants. So that's going to be a big benefit for them. Instead of paper trails and having to go out and do it and bring it back in and put it into a computer, they're going to be able to do it all with the Field ID program on the iPad.
My favorite aspect is, like we were talking about earlier, that, it's not cookie cutter and you can make it what you want it to be. That's probably the most important feature that we didn't understand to begin with, but now understanding it is the reason why we like it, and enjoy it so much.
I don't have to guess what something was written up about. There's no deciphering as far as, well, what did you mean when you said this, or it sort of passed, or did it pass, and that kind of thing. Do I love Field ID? This much.
For our annual record keeping, for our sling inspections, for our fall protection, we have to keep all those records, and we want to be able to demonstrate and show a safety program, and you have to be able to audit that before an incident happens. So we're able to record things every day during the work day to show what's going on in the field at that time. Are people using proper PPE? Are our tools in good working order and conditions? Or our guys following proper procedures, work procedures? And we're able to document that and record that and show at any time those records to not only ourselves but to any other outside entity that needed to see that or demanded to see that. It's a powerful tool when you can control the tool.